Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many of you are truly living and not just existing? Every second you spend scrolling, waiting, or doubting is a second you can never get back. Time doesn't wait, and neither should you. Your dreams, your purpose, your calling, they're not going to pause until you feel ready. They're waiting for you to focus, to act, to rise. Ladies and gentlemen, the first truth we must confront is that time is precious and fleeting. Every single second that ticks away is a second that will never return. And yet, so often, we act as if we have endless tomorrows. We scroll through social media, wait for the perfect moment, procrastinate on our dreams, and convince ourselves that there is always more time. But the reality is stark. Life does not wait for anyone. Time moves forward relentlessly, silently, and invisibly, and those who fail to honor it find themselves looking back one day, realizing how much of it was wasted. Imagine your life as a bank account where every day you are given a fixed deposit of 86,400 seconds. At the end of the day, whatever you haven't used, whatever you haven't invested in yourself, your growth, or your purpose is gone forever. You cannot withdraw it again, you cannot reverse it, and no one can give it back to you. This is the weight of time. Every second you spend hesitating or distracted is a second that could have been spent building, learning, loving, or creating. It is the difference between a life that leaves a mark and a life that quietly passes unnoticed. Think about the people you admire, the ones whose names echo through history or whose impact is felt in the lives around them. They understood this principle. They understood that every day, every hour, every minute mattered. They did not wait for ideal circumstances or perfect alignment. They understood that time, once gone, cannot be regained. And this is why focusing on your time is not just important. It is urgent. The question you must ask yourself is simple but profound. What am I doing with the time I have right now? Am I investing it in myself, in the relationships that matter, in the work that fuels my purpose, or am I letting it slip through my fingers in distractions, excuses, and fear? Time is also a mirror. It reflects our priorities. If we complain that we don't have enough, it's often because we are not clear about what truly matters. We spend hours on things that bring temporary pleasure, but no lasting fulfillment. We postpone our dreams, thinking there will be more time, forgetting that life is unpredictable and fragile. Every day, every moment is a gift that asks to be used wisely. And there is a powerful freedom in realizing this. When you truly grasp how precious time is, every decision becomes deliberate, every action intentional, and every moment meaningful. It is not about rushing or panicking. It is about awakening to the reality that your life is happening now, that the clock is moving, and that the only way to create a life of impact, joy, and fulfillment is to honor the seconds you have been given. Time waits for no one, yet it is the one resource that is equal for all. No matter your background, wealth, or circumstance, you are given the same 24 hours as everyone else. What differentiates those who achieve greatness from those who do not is not more hours in a day. It is what they do with the hours they are given. Understanding this, respecting it, and acting on it with urgency transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. It shifts your mindset from one of passive existence to one of active creation, from waiting for life to happen to making life happen. And it teaches you that the only power you truly have is the power to choose how you spend your moments. Ladies and gentlemen, the second truth we must face is that distractions steal your potential. Every day, the world offers countless temptations, interruptions, and diversions designed to capture your attention and pull you away from what truly matters. From the endless notifications on your phone to the lure of social media, from gossip and comparison to trivial tasks that occupy your mind but not your heart, these distractions quietly rob you of your most valuable asset, your focus. They are subtle, often disguised as harmless breaks or entertainment, yet they accumulate over time to create a life of unfulfilled potential. Imagine a river flowing freely toward the ocean, strong and unstoppable, and then picture someone throwing rocks, sticks, and debris into that river. The water still moves, but its energy is dispersed, its direction slowed, and its ultimate power diminished. This is exactly what distractions do to your life. Your energy, your ideas, your ambitions, they are like that river. When you allow your attention to be pulled in 1,000 directions, the force of your potential weakens. The greatest achievers, the people who leave a legacy, do not work harder than everyone else. They work smarter with focus. They protect their time and attention as if they were precious treasures because they know that once wasted, it cannot be recovered. Distractions are seductive because they are often easier than effort. They offer instant gratification, temporary relief, or the illusion of connection. Checking a notification may feel harmless, but when repeated dozens or hundreds of times a day, it fragments your attention and diminishes your capacity for deep, meaningful work. Over time, this fragmentation creates a life where you are busy but not productive, occupied but not fulfilled, awake but not present. Every distraction that pulls you away from your purpose is a small theft from your future self. And yet most people treat it as inevitable, as though the river of their potential must always encounter obstacles. But you have the power to change this. You can choose to guard your focus, to prioritize what matters, to eliminate the noise that prevents you from achieving your dreams. It requires discipline, awareness, and courage. Awareness, because you must first recognize what is stealing your attention. Discipline, because you must actively resist the pull of the trivial and redirect your energy toward what truly matters. And courage, because it often means saying no to things, people, and habits that are comfortable but not aligned with your purpose. Protecting your focus does not mean isolating yourself from life. It means being intentional about where you place your energy, time, and attention. It means creating rituals, boundaries, and habits that support your growth rather than diminish it. Imagine the life you could live if every distraction were replaced with deliberate action toward your goals. The small, consistent choices to focus on what matters compound into mastery, creativity, impact, and fulfillment. This is why it is not enough to have talent, ideas, or ambition. Without focus, your potential is like an unlit flame, capable of warmth and light, yet never realized. The world will try to pull you in countless directions, but your potential is sacred, and you must protect it with vigilance, intentionality, and unwavering commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, the third truth you must embrace is that clarity is the foundation of focus. Without clarity, your mind wanders, your energy disperses, and your life drifts without direction. Many people work hard, they stay busy, they hustle from task to task, yet they feel stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled. The reason is simple: they lack clarity about what truly matters. Focus is not just about doing more, it is about doing the right things, the things that align with your purpose, your values, and your vision for your life. Imagine trying to drive to a destination without a map or a GPS. You might move, you might even go fast, but without a clear understanding of where you are going, every turn, every detour, every stop wastes precious time and energy. Clarity is your map. It gives your focus direction. It illuminates the path and helps you recognize what to pursue and what to ignore. When you are clear about your goals, your priorities, and your purpose, decisions become easier, distractions lose their power, and your energy flows with precision rather than scattering in confusion. Achieving clarity requires reflection, honesty, and courage. You must ask yourself hard questions. What do I really want in life? What kind of person do I want to become? Which actions will bring me closer to my purpose, and which will pull me further away? It requires facing your fears, admitting your weaknesses, and acknowledging the patterns in your life that have kept you unfocused. The process of gaining clarity is like cleaning a fogged-up window. At first, everything is blurry. You can see shapes and shadows, but not details. As you wipe away the fog with intentional thinking and self-inquiry, the world comes into focus. Your priorities emerge clearly, your path becomes visible, and the noise that once consumed your mind fades away. Once clarity is achieved, focus follows naturally. Your energy is no longer wasted on inconsequential activities, meaningless comparisons, or other people's expectations. Instead, it is directed toward actions that bring results, fulfillment, and growth. Clarity also empowers you to say no. It gives you the strength to reject distractions, unhealthy relationships, and obligations that do not align with your vision. It helps you preserve your time, your energy, and your attention for the things that matter most. Life is full of options, opportunities, and possibilities, and without clarity, we are like a boat drifting in a stormy sea, tossed by currents and waves, unsure which way to go. But when clarity anchors you, the storm cannot sway you. You move with purpose, confidence, and determination. Moreover, clarity is not a one-time achievement, it is a practice. Each day, each decision, each reflection reinforces your understanding of what matters. As you grow, your clarity evolves and your focus deepens. This is why clarity is more valuable than motivation or talent alone. Motivation comes and goes, talent can be wasted, but clarity is a compass that keeps you aligned with your true north. It is the difference between a life of frantic busyness and a life of meaningful progress, between chasing everything and achieving what truly fulfills you, between existing in the noise and thriving in your purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth truth you must understand is that self-prioritization is essential. So often, we live as if everyone else's needs, expectations, and demands are more important than our own. We say yes to things we don't want to do, we put other people's dreams ahead of our own, and we neglect the growth, health, and passions that are vital to our lives. We tell ourselves that taking care of ourselves is selfish, yet the reality is that when we fail to prioritize ourselves, we diminish our ability to show up fully for everything else. Think of an airplane preparing for takeoff. The flight attendants always remind passengers to put on their own oxygen mask first before helping others. It is not an act of selfishness, it is a necessity. If you do not secure your own well-being, your ability to help others collapses. Your mind, body, and spirit need nurturing, protection, and attention, and only then can you contribute meaningfully, create impact, and live purposefully. Self-prioritization is not indulgence, it is preparation. It is a commitment to your own growth, your goals, and your vision for life. Without it, distractions, stress, and obligations will consume you, leaving you exhausted, frustrated, and unfulfilled. When you make yourself a priority, you set boundaries. You learn to say no to things that drain your energy and yes to things that elevate it. You protect your time, your focus, and your attention so that they are spent on what truly matters. This may feel uncomfortable at first because society often teaches us that putting ourselves first is wrong or arrogant. But consider this, a tree that does not nourish its roots will not bear strong branches or fruit. A life that does not invest in the self will not produce impact, joy, or fulfillment. Prioritizing yourself means understanding your needs, your dreams, and your limits. It means carving out time for reflection, for growth, for exercise, for learning, for relationships that inspire you, and for work that aligns with your purpose. It is about becoming the best version of yourself so that everything you touch is elevated by your presence, energy, and clarity. When you prioritize yourself, you also cultivate confidence and resilience. You no longer seek validation from others, and you stop living according to other people's timelines. You take ownership of your life and your choices, and you act from a place of empowerment rather than obligation or fear. This doesn't mean ignoring others. It means showing up for them as your fullest self, not as a drained version of who you could be. Life is demanding, and without intentional self-prioritization, it can easily sweep you away in its currents. But when you commit to yourself first, you anchor yourself in your purpose, values, and goals. You become intentional with your time, selective with your energy, and deliberate in your actions. Every decision aligns with your growth, every boundary protects your potential, and every moment spent nurturing yourself compounds into a life of clarity, focus, and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, the fifth truth you must embrace is that action beats waiting for perfection. Too many of us remain stuck, waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or the ideal circumstances to begin living, growing, or pursuing our dreams. We convince ourselves that we must be fully prepared, fully ready, or fully confident before taking a step forward, and in doing so, we surrender precious time to hesitation and fear. Life does not wait for preparation or permission. It moves forward relentlessly, and those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the ones who act, even when conditions are imperfect, even when uncertainty looms, and even when doubt whispers in their ears. Waiting for perfection is a subtle form of procrastination. It masks fear with logic, and it comforts the mind while the heart remains stagnant. Every day you delay, opportunities pass by, momentum is lost, and the confidence to act erodes. Action, no matter how small, creates movement. It ignites momentum. It teaches, molds, and transforms you in ways that waiting never can. When you act, you learn. You discover your strengths, your weaknesses, and your capacity for resilience. You encounter obstacles, and instead of fearing them, you adapt, grow, and become stronger. Action brings clarity, while waiting only breeds doubt. The paradox is simple. Perfection is never found before action. It is cultivated through action. Every mistake, every attempt, every step forward sharpens your skills, deepens your understanding, and propels you closer to your goals. Those who wait often underestimate the power of incremental progress. They look for monumental leaps, grand beginnings, and flawless execution, forgetting that even the smallest steps taken consistently compound into extraordinary results over time. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward in spite of it. Action requires courage because the unknown is uncomfortable and the outcome is uncertain. But the moment you decide to act, you reclaim control over your life. You take the reins of your destiny rather than waiting for external circumstances to dictate it. Moreover, action builds confidence. Every completed task, every problem solved, every step toward your goal is proof that you are capable, that you can learn, and that you can achieve. Waiting for perfection only postpones this confidence and keeps you in a cycle of self-doubt. Life is too short to wait for conditions that may never arrive. Opportunities, experiences, and growth appear when you move, not when you stand still. The person who acts today, imperfectly but intentionally, will always be ahead of the one who waits for tomorrow, hoping it will be perfect. This is why momentum matters more than preparation, why courage outweighs certainty, and why doing something now, no matter how small, is always better than doing nothing at all. The world rewards action, resilience, and those willing to risk, fail, learn, and try again. Waiting for perfection is a dream deferred, but action is the bridge between where you are and the life you are capable of creating. Ladies and gentlemen, the sixth truth you must embrace is that small, deliberate steps lead to impact. Many people underestimate the power of consistency, thinking that only massive actions or sudden breakthroughs can create meaningful change. We live in a culture that glorifies instant success, overnight results, and dramatic transformations, yet the reality is that true growth, true mastery, and true impact are built quietly, steadily, and intentionally, one step at a time. Every great achievement in history, every masterpiece, every innovation, every life transformed began with small actions repeated consistently over time. The small choices you make each day, the tiny habits you form, and the incremental progress you create compound into extraordinary results that no single leap could achieve. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it is tiny, almost insignificant, but with each rotation, it gathers mass, momentum, and power until it becomes unstoppable. Your consistent actions work the same way. Each effort may seem small, even trivial in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, they accumulate into transformation, impact, and legacy. Small steps also reduce overwhelm. When you focus only on the enormity of your goals, it is easy to feel paralyzed, thinking the task is too big, the dream too far, or the challenge too great. But by breaking it down into deliberate, manageable actions, you regain control and clarity. Progress becomes measurable, achievable, and motivating. You move forward with confidence, knowing that each step is purposeful and aligned with your ultimate vision. Deliberate action also teaches discipline and focus. When you commit to taking intentional steps each day, you train your mind and your habits to prioritize what matters, to resist distractions, and to act with intention. You create momentum that carries you even on days when motivation wanes, because momentum does not rely on fleeting feelings. It relies on the structure, consistency, and repetition of purposeful effort. Moreover, small steps build resilience. Every action taken, even if imperfect, provides feedback, lessons, and insight that guide your next move. Failure becomes a teacher, obstacles become opportunities, and challenges become stepping stones rather than barriers. The impact of consistent effort may not be visible immediately, and this is where patience and faith are required. You may sow seeds for months or years before witnessing the harvest, yet each seed planted, each step taken, contributes to the eventual abundance. Success, fulfillment, and meaningful contribution are not the result of luck or sudden inspiration. They are the natural outcome of deliberate, consistent, focused effort. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, and to keep moving forward, no matter how small the step seems. When you embrace the power of incremental progress, you free yourself from the pressure of perfection, from the paralysis of overwhelm, and from the illusion that only grand gestures matter. Your life becomes a collection of purposeful choices, each reinforcing your focus, aligning with your purpose, and building toward lasting impact. Over time, the cumulative effect of these small steps transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results, ordinary days into remarkable lives, and ordinary people into forces of inspiration, change, and legacy.